everything is an ED now. Everything. Any type of maybe weird eating habit you might have, or just different. Maybe it's not even weird. Maybe it's just a little different. Everyone wants to claim that it's an ED. That is so frustrating to me. And this happens all the time on YouTube and on TikTok, especially on TikTok. It happens all the time. And one thing that I have always felt is so strange is how comfortable people are diagnosing someone over a 3-minute video. It makes no sense to me. I will never understand that. Guys, gals, non-binary pals, today's video is going to be a heavy one. It's going to be an intense one. So just so you know. But before we get into it, I do want to say I stream every Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday on Twitch. That's where all these lovely people are right here. So if you'd love to join, we would love to have you. 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday on Twitch. We would love to have you, all right? But again, so what we're going to be talking about today is very serious stuff, talking about EDs, so trigger warning for any type of ED, anything that, if that might trigger you, today's video seriously might not be for you, because it very much so goes into the nitty gritty about this stuff. Okay. So just letting you know. Okay. So the video that we're going to be going over is from the creator of Herbs and Altars. They, first off, in this video look absolutely amazing. Like it's like mesmerizing when I first watch it. But so as you guys can see, we're not going to read the entire title. But it says Anna body checking what it actually means and looks like. So I really like, because one, they seem to have a very good grasp on this stuff. And this is not going to be a video where I am going to be going over and being like, I'm an expert on this. I'm going to be learning with you as well. But I do think that it's funny, because there are certain things that they say that I feel as though there is relation to weight loss and that type of stuff, just in general. All right, so we're going to be going over this. Let's have them take it away.
A little knowledge is a dangerous thing has become the entire freaking world when it comes to the concept of eating disordered people and body checking. And where this gets dangerous is that the word body checking, this buzzword, is now being used to shut down every openly eating disordered person who has any kind of passion for clothes and fashion and outfit videos. It is harmful to ED people when they are driven away from their social media, i.e. their support network, when they need it the most, because people think they are doing something toxic when all they are doing is showing off an outfit.
So this is something that you notice with obviously the ED community, but even like communities of people that might be overweight. Even if, like, say if we're talking about someone that's overweight that might be eating food on camera, people get like super upset about it. And it's like, oh my gosh, they're monetizing their disorder. And I'm always like, there is a difference between that, right, just eating on camera, and then doing a full-blown 5,000 calorie mukbang where they can barely finish the food, right? Like, there's differences there, just like they're talking about how there's differences with like someone who might have an ED that is just on camera and doing something on camera, trying on a shirt or something, versus actual issues, right? So I thought that was interesting.
True body checking file on someone's phone is very, very, very unlikely to be uploaded to the internet. Bear in mind, this is a private file on your phone. No one else is going to see it. What does that mean?
So it says, for those of you that aren't watching, body checking, what it really looks like, and the toxic culture of false ED knowledge. I really like the last part, the toxic culture of false ED knowledge, because one thing, I know some of y'all know what this is like. It is so frustrating, because it's like everything is an ED now. Everything. Any type of maybe weird eating habit you might have, or just different. Maybe it's not even weird. Maybe it's just a little different. Everyone wants to claim that it's an ED. That is so frustrating to me. And this happens all the time on YouTube and on TikTok, especially on TikTok. It happens all the time. And one thing that I have always felt is so strange is how comfortable people are diagnosing someone over a 3-minute video. It makes no sense to me. I will never understand that. I will never understand that.
So hello you wonderful human of the internet, and welcome back to another eating disorder related video. This time I wanted to talk about body checking, what it is not, and obviously I do need to give you a trigger warning for that, as I do want to talk about and possibly show some examples of body checking. Obviously that could be quite triggering, so decide now whether you want to proceed or not. But body checking. The old adage about a little knowledge is a dangerous thing has become the entire freaking world when it comes to the concept of eating disordered people and body checking. Unfortunately, we have now all seen so many videos, and I'm not innocent because I made 2 of those videos, but the videos about Eugenia Cooney mentioning her body checking on camera has now led the world to believe it knows exactly what body checking is. And where this gets dangerous is that the word body checking, this buzzword, is now being used to shut down every openly eating disordered person who has any kind of passion for clothes and fashion and outfit videos. If you post an outfit video and you are openly eating disordered, whether or not you're particularly underweight, people can shut you down with this buzzword. That, oh, I think you're body checking this video. You look like you're body checking, because people think they know what it means and they think they know what it looks like.
So yeah, that's one of the issues that a lot of people seem to have, is that it's like, because you watch a video on YouTube, I hate to break it to you. You're not an expert. You're not. You watched a video on YouTube, all right? I don't care if that video was an hour long. You are not an expert. Please, stop. Just stop it, okay? Stop.
When they really, really don't. So, body checking. Where this all started back in the day, before we had video cameras on our phones, before we had social media, body checking tended to be a ritual of comfort that was very much like stimming is for autistic people. So while with autistic people you might get flapping or nervously rubbing a cheek or whatever your thing is, body checking tended to be running your hands over maybe your clavicles, over your hip bones, your pelvic bones. There was also a lot of measuring with hands, you know, where can you get your hands around your arm, things like that. These were pretty typical body checking things, and you would do them often in public. Often it was something that people would catch you doing in public and you wouldn't realize you were doing it. You would just find yourself stroking these bones, and it was like stimming. It was something you...
This is really interesting to me because I don't feel like I've ever had this sort of ED or anything like that. But I remember when I was losing weight, it just reminds me because they said collarbone, I think. That was something that I remember when I first lost weight, the first thing I remember noticing was my collarbone, because I was on the stair climber, or I was on some sort of exercise thing. And I could see there was like a TV screen, but it was turned off, and I could see like a reflection. And I remember I could see my collarbone for the first time ever. Like I mean, since I was like a little kid, I guess. And I remember thinking like, oh, whoa, that's awesome, you know? And I just thought that was like super cool. And so, but I don't know. I'm just like, I just wanted to kind of share my opinion on that, or my experience. But I can see how that could easily turn into something much more nefarious, right?
You don't really notice you're doing, but it's comforting to do it, because all the time it's telling you, yes, your bones are still there, yes, you're still skinny, yes, you're still in control. So it was this check to see that everything was still okay. Body checking, get it? That's kind of where it came from. And then of course, you know, digicams came along, digital cameras. Everyone had the ability to take private photos of themselves in their home. Now, if you're a Generation Z person and you're quite young, Obviously, all your life you have had the capacity to take private pictures of yourself. Wasn't always that way. When film cameras were a thing, you had to send off your negatives to be developed, which meant that someone else would see all of your pictures before you did. So that would really curtail the amount of pictures you would take of yourself, because you would feel like a narcissistic jerk-off if you gave them a roll just full of pictures of your face and your body. So digicams, they came along, they were a big thing, and they kind of changed the game with body checking and ED'd people.
That's see, again, like, that's why I love watching these, because that's something I would have never ever thought of, and that's just so interesting to me.
But where this initially started was just the same as it is with dieters. If you follow any diet accounts on Instagram or whatever, how is the way that people body check as dieters? Comparison pictures, right? Side-by-side pictures of themselves in the same position. So standing like this one day looking a bit chubby, standing like this the next day looking skinnier. Comparison photos. And this was where body checking went for most people in the ED community that I knew. Certainly myself, I would, every couple of weeks or so, I would take pictures wearing pretty much the same clothes in the same positions to see progress. Because this is the other thing you want to see. The initial body checking was, am I skinnier? Am I still in control? Is it still there? And then when digital cameras came along, you would check for progress. Am I getting thinner? So where this comes to the average...
So this is really interesting, because, again, this is something that you see a lot of, like the health at every size movement. They say, because it's almost like, because before and afters or progress photos can become this really obviously terrible thing that for some people, they are inherently a bad thing. And that's where I kind of disagree. I'm like, yes, they can become a bad thing for certain people, but I've always said, like, just because something can be bad for some people does not mean that thing is always bad. Like, for a lot of people, right? Alcohol for some people can be very, very bad. Very bad. Does that mean we should make it so no one can ever drink? I would say most people would probably be like, no. I mean, it's funny because I don't even drink, but still, like, I wouldn't be like, no one's allowed to drink because there's a group of people that can't handle it, right? I don't think that that's really a realistic way to approach something like that.
Video that people see on Instagram or whatever that people are shutting down by saying, you're body checking, this is toxic, you're body checking. If you are seeing someone just flouncing around in an outfit, that is very, very unlikely to be a body checking file. A true body checking file on someone's phone is very, very, very unlikely to be uploaded to the internet, because what real body checking looks like tends to be very awkward. The first thing you want to see is what you look like from strange angles and strange positions that you don't normally see, because we're all pretty used to what we look like in the mirror and what we look like in selfies at this point. But for instance, we don't know what we look like from behind. We don't know what we look like when we're dancing. We don't know what we look like when we're bending over sideways. Like, does my stomach pooch out when I bend over sideways? Things like this. These are going to be the weird ass kind of shit you're going to get in one kind of body checking file. So
that's so interesting to me, because, like, for me, I don't want to know what I look like. In those, I don't want to know. I'd rather not know. So I'm good. You know, so that's why it's so interesting. Like, obviously there's a difference. And also, the first time I watched this video, when I saw them move and I realized these weren't real books, I felt a little lied to. Okay? I'm just going to put that out there. I really felt a little lied to.
It's going to be very awkward. It's going to be a lot of shuffling around, like, you know, trying to get angles of your back. Like, can I see the bones in my back? Can anyone see the bones in my back? Or, like, bending over, trying to look natural as though someone else was seeing you. But, you know, what do I look like? When I bend over at the supermarket, does my stomach pooch out? Things like this weird, insecure shit like this, right, is one of the things that people are going to be capturing in their body checking files. The next thing is going to be the traditional body checking stuff. So the measuring of stuff, obviously the measuring around arms. So can I get my fingers around my wrist? Can I get my fingers around my arm higher up? Blah, 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 blah. You might get that capturing on body checking files because it's a comparison thing. So you might get people recording like, look, I can get my fingers around here and by next week I want to be able to get them around here. You know, things like that. You might get people doing stuff like that, obviously not probably with their fingers, but I'm trying to be as untriggering as possible. And then the other thing you're going to get on a real body checking file is that, bear in mind, this is a private file on your phone. No one else is going to see it. What does that mean? That means you can talk to yourself in the camera. You are talking solely to yourself. And that means you can vent everything that the little anorexic voices are saying to you. So you may well...
So basically what it's kind of... what they're kind of saying here is that it's more a lot of, so what's going on right now, I'm not sure if, because I think that if you're not watching their channel, this might seem like I don't understand what's happening. So a lot of people right now are online basically claiming anyone that might have dealt with an ED in the past, or maybe even currently are, if they are online at all doing anything, doing a clothing haul, doing anything, people will just go to their comment section and basically be like, you're doing body checking, all this stuff, and make them feel like they're not allowed to be on the internet. They're not allowed to use the internet because they are dealing with this thing. And I disagree with that, right? Like, I think that if you're going through something, like, you know, you should still be able to use the internet and you should still be able to post stuff. And so I think that what they are trying to say is, like, just because this is a thing that happens, like body checking is a thing that happens, realistically, no one is putting a real body check thing on YouTube as a video, right? So what they're going to try and do here is explain why that sounds so ridiculous, because a true body check type of thing is going to look like this. I just kind of wanted to explain that in case you weren't fully, you know, kind of following along.
You'll find that a real body checking file, trigger warning, kind of comes off like, hey, you fat bitch, today we weigh 1,200 pounds. By next week, you better be under 1,000 or you just don't deserve to live anymore. Like, you are just so gross. I mean, look at this, and then, you know, some pinching of anything that you consider fat or whatever. And look at this. I can grab this on my stomach. Like, you just don't deserve to eat tonight. All of this kind of, all the anorexic noise in the back of your head, you can vent it at yourself through a camera now and play it back to yourself whenever you want to trigger yourself or remind yourself of how gross you think you are, or whatever else is going on in your mind. These, I would say, are the things you are likely to see in a genuine body checking video. Is that going to be uploaded to social media? Is it bollocks? Not unless you're part of a pro-anorexia community on social media, in which case, sure, people probably do these days, and I feel a little out of touch with the whole thing at the moment, but I would not be surprised if on pro-anorexia communities people do actually upload these body check files to kind of trigger each other and to compare themselves and to hold themselves accountable. Accountability is another part of body checking that you are, and these videos where you're talking to yourself, it's accountability. It's you are damn well going to lose this much weight by whenever. And so I would say on pro-anorexia communities, yes, they might share those files to hold themselves accountable. If other people see it, then you have to lose the weight by then because other people are going to know, and all the rest of the toxic crap that goes on in those communities. However, if you are not a member of these communities and you are just on general social media and you see someone who is openly ED'd whirling around in an outfit, I would say that's not going to be a body checking file. That's just going to be them indulging their passion for fashion, and shutting down an eating disordered person's healthy habits is a really freaking dangerous thing to do, because already they are being sucked in by this monster of a disease, and the best way to get someone out of their disease is to make their life without it happier. They have to have more good things than they have disorder. It is harmful to ED people when they are driven away from their social media, i.e. their support network, when they need it the most, because people think they are doing something toxic when all they are doing is showing off an outfit. I would say particularly if you see someone showing off a new outfit that you have never seen them in before, that's very unlikely to be a body checking file, because again, it's about comparison, it's about accountability, it's about, do I look thinner in this, do I feel thinner in this than I was last time? So if it's a new outfit, how can you compare what you were in that outfit? You know, does it feel loosey? You don't know, it's the first time you fucking wore it. You know, it's not likely to be a body checking file. And then the final thing I would say about body checking via a camera or a video is that people are likely to be wearing a lot less clothes. A lot of people are going to body check in the nude because you want to see everything. In the nude or in very skimpy underwear, you want to see everything. You want to see what you look like from every angle. There has got to be nowhere for the fat to hide. All of these kinds of things. And again, you can't really upload nude videos to Instagram because you get banned.
So it's so interesting to me. I know I let a big chunk of it play, but it's just so different to how I like feel, and I just have never been at that point. And like I hope that doesn't sound like I'm like gloating or anything, but like the thought of me filming a video like almost naked and like I'm like, no, I'm good, you know, like I don't want to see that. That's not something I'm interested in. And so it's so interesting hearing, you know, stories of what other people go through. There might even be, you know, people here right now in chat that have you know, have had similar experiences and stuff like that. It's just really, really interesting hearing, you know, that reality. And that's something that I think is important. Is I feel like like myself included, you get so used to, this is the life I live, this is what I go through, that it's so hard to really put yourself in someone else's shoes, you know?
And your mum might see it and all the rest of that stuff. So yeah, body checking. Obviously this has come from Eugenia Cooney, and I think I was one of the first people to mention the fact that, you know, this was years ago, I first mentioned the fact that she, you know, she always films her videos from way back so you can see her full body, whether or not it's clothes related. She likes to have her full body on camera. And I think a lot of people ran with that and took it as oh, body checking, she's always body checking. And then look at the fact that she's always looking at herself in the viewfinder, you know, she's like admiring herself. It's clearly a body check. Well, in some cases, yes. But in some cases, she's doing a try-on haul. It is likely the first time she's seen herself in that outfit. And if that was me, I would be doing exactly the same thing, because you're looking at the outfit, you're like, yeah, okay, so I quite like it from here. It's kind of messing up my necklace a bit here. And these spikes are not quite pointing up. It's not quite wide enough at the shoulders, but I like it. It's cute. Like, outfit video, right? That's what you're going to be doing. So even when it comes to Eugenia Cooney, I would not say that she is necessarily body checking in every single video she makes, because I would say she probably has private files that are far more like all the body checking I have described. I mean, of course, if you're an ED'd person and you record any kind of footage of yourself, whether that's for YouTube, Instagram, whatever, of course you're looking at it and going, do I look fat in this? I'm not uploading this if I look fat in it. But is that abnormal? Is that really abnormal? I think pretty much everyone does that. If you film something, you go, do I look cute in this? I'm not uploading it unless I look cute in it. And if you're ED, it's much more likely to be focused on fat than cute. So it's not desperately abnormal, the kind of process of, shall I upload this or not? Do I look cute in it? Not necessarily a body checking thing. I would say Eugenia's constantly being on camera, there are some tells of body checking with Eugenia, and I would say that it is, and other people have picked up on this too, this is something that I have seen the more switched on to ED people in the comments of Eugenia's videos mention. Body checking with Eugenia for me tends to be when she makes a very unnecessary or strange gesture. So particularly when she touches her hair, she tends to do it with kind of her arms jutting out at a very interesting angle. I'm trying to copy it and I don't really know how she does it, but the constant hair touching and the arm jutting, I would say that is a bit of a like, okay, how do my arms look from this position? That seems a bit body checky to me. I have an old photo, I'm not going to put it up because it is quite triggering, but I have an old photo that my dad took of me. This was way before camera phones, way before any of this stuff, way before you could take pictures of yourself. But my dad wanted to take a picture of me next to his car. And I still remember to this day that just as he was about to take the picture, I put my arm out like this to the car to touch my bag because I wanted to see, what does my arm look like from that angle? Does my arm look skinny? So I have this picture of me kind of reaching out and holding my bag, looking kind of awkward, and I still have that picture to this day. So awkward movements, I would say, is something you're kind of looking for. If you see someone doing really weird kind of movements that just look awkward and put on, and like they are deliberately seeing like, oh, what do I look like from this angle? Or in Eugenia's case, since she's clearly quite proud of her body and a bit of a flaunter, it's kind of I want other people to see me from this angle because I look really skinny from this angle, so everyone has to see me from this angle.
So for me, I guess the best way that I could relate to this is with loose skin. I think a lot of people when they see me, when they see my loose skin and when they ask about it, they think that I like maybe sit in my my bathroom and look in the mirror and like try and look at my loose skin in different ways, and I really don't do that too often. Like like there's like again, it's at what point does it become disordered, right? Because are there times when I'll like pull up my like nipples and be like, oh, this is what my pecs would look like if there wasn't loose skin there? Am I doing that all the time? No. So like it's just interesting because again, it's like it's all about, there's so much more than just have you done it, right? Like, because I think it's very normal to be like, oh, my back looks nice. Is that like body checking? Oh my God. No, it's like a normal thing for someone to do. Like, oh, I don't get to see my back often. Like it just really does. There's so many things that it just really depends on the person. And there's like so many things that go into it other than just, oh my God, they looked at themselves,
Those are the kinds of things I would say are body checky about her videos. But looking in the viewfinder while you're filming, not necessarily a body checky thing when you're trying on an outfit. If you're checking for something, and again, occasionally glancing across as well, you might just be glancing across to see if you're in frame, to see if the recording light is on, because sometimes anyone who's on YouTube, you've recorded a video without turning on the record button.
And again, like I said earlier, the thing that gets really annoying, especially for someone that's a content creator, is that you deal with people that will like watch your videos and they've seen an hour-long video about body checking, and then they think they're an expert. So now they're going to go all over the internet and tell people that they're body checking. It's just like people they feel like they are, it's crazy how much people really do feel like experts after watching a couple videos. I promise you're not. I promise.
At least once. So that's not necessarily body checky either. But so in essence, what I wanted to say is that the files you see of people just showing off outfits are unlikely to be genuine body checks. Please, run back to all the things I said. You're looking for awkward poses because you want to see how you look from all these funny angles. A real body check file, you're quite likely to be talking to yourself and insulting yourself and letting out all the little anorexic voices. Then you've got the comparison thing. So if you see someone do an outfit video in the same outfit they wore about a month ago, and they look noticeably skinnier in it, that might be a body check. That might be a bit of a, oh, look, I look skinnier in it. And yes, the awkward movements. If you see these deliberately awkward movements or particular angles that they look very, very skinny from, but they look very put on and artificial, that could be body checky. But nonetheless, I don't really know what you expect to get from calling someone out on it and saying that particular bit at, 2 minutes 27, that looked quite body checky to me.
I mean, people do it because it makes them feel like they're smarter, like they're better, right? That's why people do it. I think that's with anything. Like people do that on any type of video. Someone will try and call something out to make themselves feel better.
It can be almost unconscious. It is like stimming, almost unconscious method of comfort. So shutting someone down for that is much the same as shutting someone down for stimming. Yes, obviously it's in a slightly sicker way because you're reassuring yourself in ED terms, but it's still a method of calming yourself down and comforting yourself. And that's something to be worked on in therapy. That is not something to be worked on with a stranger on the internet. So I don't think calling people out about their body checking online is a great idea in general. And yes, as I say, hopefully you now know what it actually is and what it actually would look like. And if you were to steal any eating disordered person's phone, please don't. You would probably find far more toxic files than anything you have seen on their social media. Pretty much guaranteed. And a lot of comparison shots. A lot of comparison shots of their face, their body, their everything, possibly in the nude. So please don't steal their phone. But that is the kind of shit you would find on there. And those are the real body check files. So yes, please stop hurling this buzzword at people who are purely enjoying their passion for clothing and are enjoying one of their few remaining healthy passions outside of their ED. That is the main point I would like to make. If there is anything else you would like to add, if there are other...
But yeah, so that's pretty much the that's pretty much the whole video. Again, like I said, I know I didn't have like a ton of to add to this exact conversation, but I feel like it's really interesting to me. And again, it's just so funny because this is stuff that is going on here that they were explaining is stuff that literally goes on in every community. People watch a couple videos, they feel like they're an expert, and they go off and try and like prove to everyone that they're an expert. But yeah, really, really interesting